It is incredibly challenging as a writer sometimes to present your work in a museum, which is about visual art. But Sita's Ramayana is largely visual. It's a graphic novel. It's in a comic book form. So that I talk mainly about the visuals, the art form, and how those are influenced by other traditions as well. Of course, this is made much easier by the fact that we actually have artwork in the graphic novel that we can show, and so my job is made much easier as a writer to present at an art museum. But I think as artists and writers, we need to commit and engage more deeply with politics. This is the purpose of art right now in India. And so it's been fascinating to meet Nikhil and discover that in his own practice, he's been doing that as well. And I think it's wonderful to have this opportunity to meet artists from a completely different discipline here at Find, because I think there needs to be more cross-collaboration, cross-pollination, talking through disciplines about ideas, because you cannot work in isolation. You are part of a larger ecosystem or movement. I'm going to talk a little bit today, mostly today, about my second book, Sita's Ramayana. It's a story about Ram, a king who is banished to the forest with his lovely wife, Sita. And when they are banished in the forest because Ram has been disinherited, Sita is abducted, captured, taken by another king, Ravana. And the Ramayana is a story about how Ram has to fight and wage a war to bring her back and rescue her. So Moina and I collaborated on Sita's Ramayana, but how to do this in a way that engages a younger audience. So for that, we decided to use a sort of a graphic novel format to adapt these sort of scrolls to. And in a few places we had to go back and forth, and I had to really work with the images to sort of place them in a kind of a graphic novel setup and figure out a way also to make it as brief as possible so that words don't dominate. We don't have huge giant speech bubbles that take up half the image. The Ramayana is still a text that influences the way we think, influences our culture. You find references to the Ramayana everywhere, in ads, in television, in court judgments. And I think that's the power of mythology in India today. It still speaks to us today. It's still about our lives today. They reflect those societies' issues and anxieties. And that's why these epics have to be retold and not remain static. What's surprising is that there are many other versions of the Ramayana that exist. But we don't talk about these in India. There are women's traditions, there are oral traditions, there are visual traditions. The Ramayana travels, there are many traditions of the Ramayana outside India, in Indonesia, in Pakistan, in Malaysia, in Thailand. Yet in India today, we tend to think of Ramayana as solely Indian property, and it's not. It's not just a Hindu epic. There are Muslim retellings of the Ramayana in Indonesia. In India itself, there are Muslim and Jain and Buddhist retellings of the Ramayana. But today, the Hindutva, the right-wing movement, has completely co-opted it.
La conversazione fra la tradizione della mitologia e il tempo contemporaneo è il centro di questa energia della creazione.